Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Grade Val. Welcome to our Sunday program. Welcome to those joining us online. It's great to see everyone here on this snowy Sunday morning. So this morning we will begin with chanting service, followed by some periods of meditation, and then a Dharma talk, and then a community lunch after that. Now we can rise and stand behind our mats, clearing our mats of sitting supplies in preparation for 3 vows. Here at the monastery we do full prostrations all the way down to our mats. You're welcome to do these or simply do a standing bow or just observe, whatever feels most appropriate for you. And we will begin. Thank you.
Zen teacher Jomon is now available. As you see members in the Buddhist lesson, right, who would like to come to Sanzen, please come now. Residents who would like to come to Sanzen, please come now.
precious mirror samadhi.
Aspects, no going, no coming, no
this mere samadhi, we dedicate their merits to Maha Prajna Paramita and to the great teacher Shakyamuni Buddha, to the ancestors in our lineage who have transmitted the light of the Dharma to this place and time, including the first woman ancestor, great teacher Mahapajapati, the first ancestor in India, great teacher Mahakasyapa, the first ancestor in China, great teacher Bodhidharma, the first ancestor in Japan, great teacher Eihei Dogen, the great women ancestors Dzongchen and Ryonen, the first ancestor in America, great teacher Om Taizan, to all enlightened women, to all those who have taught and manifested the truth. Please turn to page 28. May their vows be fully realized, and may we accomplish the enlightened way together.
Pure heart.
blessedly answered. We humbly request the guidance of the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, in chanting the chant of boundless compassion and the Jizo Shingon. We offer the merits to all living teachers of the Dharma, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Shodo Harada Roshi, Ajahn Sumedho, and Pema Chodron. We also pray that the years of life be lengthened for Chosen Roshi and Hogan Roshi. May their vows be fully realized.
We also dedicate these merits to those who are ill or in distress, including Tim Mealy, Stephen White, Corey Mullet, Patrick Turnipseed, Cindy Tetsugyo Coleman, Ari Ankeny, Corinne Lyons, Sarah Fletcher, Jason Crowley, Eden Gray, Suzanne and Blaney McDonough, Jamie Onapangia, Curtis Williams, Ron Wiener, Ibrahim Abu El Hawa, Susan Moore, Liz M., Gerald Baugh, Pamela Wyeth, Thomas Reardon, Alexis Griffin, Allison Rubart, Betty Albers, Joanna Fugi, Ken Morrison, Christopher King, Jeff Grayall, Janine Sherman, Savannah Niebel, Brett Belland, Kimberly White, Dick Hazel, Jesse Roche, Scott Passon, Manuel Leonardo Gonzalez Allen, Deborah Miller, Rob Brady, Verna Carpenter, Adrian Rosenhaus, Aaron Lowe, Rob M., Emma Lynn, Al Bellinger, Paul Philhauer, John Thomas, Greg Melcher, Donna McIntyre. Now you may silently add anyone who is ill or in distress. To all those displaced by the wildfires in Los Angeles, to all people in war zones all over the world, to all people harmed by white supremacy and systemic racism, to all people, animals, and plants harmed by the effects of climate disruption, to all refugees fleeing violence, famine, and persecution, may they be free from suffering and serene through all their ills. We also pray that those who help to guide our cities, counties, states, and nations will be endowed with clear wisdom and compassion, including President Trump. May all countries be led with clarity and kindness. We also dedicate these merits to those in the transition of death, including Zen teacher Yozen Peter Schneider, Zen teacher Hozan Alan Sanauki, Jules Pfeiffer, President Jimmy Carter, Mike Lee, Peggy Arbanas, Sharon Barnaby, Dick Van Arsdale, Thomas J. and family, Cecile Richards, Kevin Moore, Alice Weander, David Lynch, Carrie Cordell, Leona Domino, Adam Grishman, Laura, Levon Miller, Lewis, Wayne Osmond, Cheryl Ann Holy, William Lane, our neighbors on Ilmari Road, animal companions, Ozzy, Zoe, Aiden. Now you may silently add anyone who has recently died. To all species made extinct by human activity, to all those killed by police and all police killed in the line of duty, to all those who have died in human-made and natural disasters, in acts of terrorism, violence, and war, and to those who mourn their loss, may we and they be serene through these transitions.
May we aspire to turn the Dharma wheel unceasingly to free the world from every tragedy of violence, epidemic, and starvation as we accomplish the awakened way together.
Bye.
the sound of the bell, one bow towards the Buddha, representing our own enlightened nature and the path of practice. And one bow towards the camera at the back of the room for Sangha here and online. We will now transition to a period of meditation. If it's your first time here at Great Vow, or if you're new to meditation practice, one of our residents, Kozan, will be offering meditation instruction, and you can meet with him in just a few moments outside in the hallway outside the doors on the Buddha's right. For young kids, can meet with Doka outside in the hallway on the Buddha's left, and for the rest of us, we can be seated for meditation. the sound of the clappers, the first and third rows can turn and face the altar, and the second rows can turn and face the entrances. Those on the Buddha's left will just circle around the innermost row, and those on the Buddha's right will have a particularly different pattern, but follow those in front of you, they know where to go. We'll begin with slow walking meditation. Raising the foot on the inhale and setting your back down on the exhale. Allowing awareness to rest in the soles of your feet. The next sound of the clappers, we'll begin walking at a normal pace. And this is a fine time to use the restroom if you need to. And just join back in line whenever you're finished. So you continue walking until you reach the front of your seat. Zaza. be seated facing the front for a dharma talk.
The following chant is on the white card beneath your mat. Gata on opening the sutra.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming together to practice. Those of you here at Great Vow and those of you online. Those of you online, we are experiencing
what a Jomon joked is adult snow, which is beautiful, fluffy snow that comes down and doesn't stick on the driveway. Adults like that kind of snow, all the beauty without any of the bother. So today I would like to talk about patience. We had at the monastery, we're beginning a practice period of several weeks where we focus on a particular aspect of practice. And here this aspect is creative process, spirituality, and creativity. And you taught our class night, and one of the elements was on the paramitas, and patience is one of those. Patience paramita. In our particular stream of Buddhism, we have a model of spiritual development called the 6 paramitas, or 6 perfections. These are aspects of the mind and heart that we can cultivate and are cultivated as we practice. Paramita. So paramita is a Sanskrit word. Para means, so parama means most excellent or highest. Most excellent or highest. And there's another etymology for this, second etymology, that para means beyond. Paramita, beyond, para, beyond. Also, it has a connotation of the other shore, the other boundary, the further shore. And mita is that which has arrived. So paramita can be loosely translated as that which has gone beyond or transcendent. And those of you who have been around, paramita shows up all the time as the word we use when we end service and say, Maha Prajna Paramita. So that means great. Maha is great, Prajna wisdom, Paramita perfection, great perfection, great perfect wisdom, perfection of great perfect wisdom. So it's one of the important aspects of our spiritual development. Some Mahayana texts say that these aspects like patience and the paramitas are the basis of training, bases of training to be developed. So these 6 perfections, or 6 bases of training, 6 aspects of what emerge from practice, are giving, ethical conduct, patience, joyful effort, meditation, and wisdom. So we can look at these in a sequential way and a dynamic all-at-once way. From the sequential perspective, we start by giving. And the Buddha's instructions to people when they began practice, especially householder people, was to be generous. This gets us to set aside our ego, our clinging. We begin to think of others and act more ethically. As we have more understanding, we're more patient, we're joyful, and bring that into meditation, which develops our wisdom. So that's a kind of a sequential way. Don't worry, there won't be a test. There's also the all-at-once view, that which all these are all simultaneously in playful dynamism. That as we become more, as there's more wisdom, we naturally are more giving. As we're more ethical, our meditation, our mind calms, and our meditation, it becomes deeper. So this word perfection is a sticky one. Those of us who have have perfectionistic tendencies, there will be a meeting after lunch. So we're not looking at getting to perfection, but perfecting, like perfecting a recipe. The closest thing I've probably come to perfection is perfecting my popcorn making technique in a Dutch oven. Can make it with not one unpopped kernel.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you. It's true. Perfect salting technique. But the other way is the other shore, right? That this is, and in fact, there is no other shore, but it's the other shore. The perfecting is a matter of becoming more and more refined and subtle, and leaving behind what's unskillful and unhelpful and harmful to ourselves and others. So the 6 paramitas, like generosity and patience, which you're patiently waiting for me to talk about, are a wonderful reminder that practice is not just about meditation. It's a holistic view of the path. They are a balancing view of the path. We might find ourselves frustrated in certain areas, and we may find that there's some basic nutrients missing that are in the other aspects of the perfections, for paramitas. So we may find ourselves frustrated with our meditation practice. I know it's surprising, but meditation can be frustrating sometimes. And that we may find that our meditation, one of the reasons why our mind doesn't calm down is that we've been unskillful in some way. We find ourselves ruminating on it. Might be in the ethical living paramita, but there's also the aspect of patience. We may be kind of pushing, have some expectation that things ought to be a certain way. And what is needed is more patience. So this third aspect, the third paramita, called Kshanti, paramita in Sanskrit. Kshanti can be translated in different ways. I'm using the word patience. It also has a quality of forbearance or endurance, renunciation, patience. For the Theravada schools of Buddhism, this is called Nikama Parami, which connotes the joys of renunciation. And in this land of plenty, we don't really do renunciation so much. It's not appreciated in a cultural way, I would say. Technology companies have done everything they can to make things as frictionless as possible. That's what they call it, frictionless. One-click buying. You know, it's saving, my browser saving the debit card number. It's like, too convenient. So we get used to, overnight delivery. I mean, goodness. So we practice renunciation here at the monastery. People live here simply. We bow to the monastic schedule, set aside our preferences. We eat what's offered. There's a lot of renunciation. And in the practice, people become more bright, more happy, joyful. This is one of the aspects of the joy of renunciation, that in simplicity, there's a natural ease and joy that comes forward. But it's not about whether or not you live in a monastery. There's all kinds of ways that there is renunciation. Parenthood is a renunciation. Being a caregiver to a loved one is a kind of renunciation. Being a student is a kind of renunciation. And so instead of looking at renunciation as a problem, look at what I'm giving up, it's look at what offers. So this is also a state of mind, this kind of joy of renunciation, giving up unhelpful or unwholesome habits of mind, resentments, unkind thoughts, our projections onto other people. In our practice, we get to know these habits of mind and let them go. Resentment then yields to loving kindness. Patience, patience. Chosen Roshi says, there is no waiting in Zen. No, there is no waiting in Zen. What does she mean by this? How can there be no waiting in Zen? She usually says that when she senses we're all waiting. What this means is that whatever we are experiencing is an opportunity to practice. We may find ourselves stuck in line at the grocery store. Oh no, this customer is disputing the price. And so the checker needs to do a price check. And I'm trapped. I unloaded my cart. Do I want to wait? Tap my toe, be frustrated, check my phone. What is the difference between patience and waiting? Are they the same or different? So for the purposes of the talk, we'll use them as different aspects of the way that we relate to what's happening. So we'll say in waiting, we have a goal in mind, an appointment, getting through the grocery line, the counter at the post office, these people driving their cars, this length of time. It's all in the way of getting in the way of what I want. You are in my way. Where patience is meeting our life just as it is. We may have a goal, we may have a vow, and it's not manifesting right. It's not here right now. The other shore appears to not have arrived. Or it's taking its own sweet time. So we're present with the way things are. And we consider, what can I learn from this? How can I practice right now? How do I want to be right now? How do I want to be with my life right now? How do I want to relate to my life? Discomfort in our body, pain, loss, they will come. Sometimes we respond with anger or blame, aggression. Sometimes we check out, distract ourselves. But these are temporary and ultimately unsatisfying. And sometimes there's just no escape. So we face it, we bear it. Forbearance, calm endurance of hardship, they call it in Buddhism. Calm endurance of hardship. With kindness, with equanimity, with understanding, with curiosity. Here's a poem called Patience by Emily Dickinson. Patience has a quiet outer. Patience, look within, is an insect's futile forces, infinites between escaping one against the other, fruitlesser to fling. Patience is the smile's exertion through the quivering. Patience is the smile's exertion through the quivering. Sometimes we endure, we grit our teeth. We don't run away or check out. And because of impermanence, we are never stuck. It will change. And so we can be with that change. And then we can shift even more from waiting into patience. Being with, this is even welcoming what's here. What can I learn? What is happening? What is it teaching me? There's a quite beautiful movie that I saw recently called Perfect Days that came out a few years ago. And the main character is a middle-aged Tokyo man whose job it is to clean public toilets. So which when you go to Japan, you notice that the toilets are immaculate. So it's a quiet movie. Again, Perfect Days. I highly recommend it. It's a quiet movie. We follow him through his days, getting dressed in the morning, driving from job to job, listening to music in his van, cleaning the toilets, eating his lunch, going to the public bath, reading, and then going to sleep. And that's it. I mean, there's some other things, but it really is about just this simple. In a way, this character is a model of someone who lives a monastic life but is not in the monastery. Simple, unadorned, and patient. There are many times throughout the movie where he's in the middle of cleaning the bathroom, the toilet, and a cabbie will run in, about kind of keeping his legs together. I have to use the bathroom. And the cleaning man will simply go outside and look at the light going through the tree leaves. He doesn't check a phone. He doesn't smoke a cigarette. He doesn't send a text. He's not tapping his toe. He's just present and patient. Perfect days. So here are some elements of patience, some elements of experience that point to this aspect. So one is patience is our practice. It just takes time for the mind to settle down. We've had a busy day, a busy week, and we show up to our cushion and sit down, and our mind is busy. It's scattered. Like a snow globe. It's been shaken all day or all week, especially if we've had lots of functioning, complex functioning in our life. We sit down and we just return to our method. The mind is busy like the flakes in a snow globe, and then we plop it down on the counter, and what do you see? The flakes are whirling around still. You have to wait for them to settle down. And with a snow globe, there's nothing you can do to make it go faster. It just will do it itself. In fact, the more you try and do anything, it just creates more disturbance. We are like this. It's very tempting to think we need to do something more with our practice. Almost always, it's do less. almost. Our Zazen is patience. We're practicing patience with non-reactivity. Our nose itches, we don't scratch it. We're just patient. We're with it and watch it change. And by practicing non-reactivity on the cushion, more and more we have that experience and can bring that into our world. Patience with ourselves. There's an aspect of patience with others. I don't know if you've found this, but people just don't do what we want them to. They just don't. They don't think what we want them to think. They see the world in ways that can be confusing or frighten us. So how do we react? How do we bring patience here? It's a very good question. So from the Dharma perspective of Dharma, we recognize that the people's minds are affected by clinging, greed, anger, or confusion. So because they are acting from a mind that is affected by what's called the three poisons, greed, anger, and ignorance, or delusion, or confusion, we don't make it about the person. We understand that we ourselves have been affected by greed, by anger, and confusion. So from this perspective, we respond with compassion and understanding, loving kindness. Whether great or mighty, medium, short, or tall, omitting none, says the Metta Sutta, omitting none. All are responded to with, may you be at ease, wishing well. Now this doesn't mean that we don't act. Anger can tell us a boundary has been crossed. So we have to be, of course, skillful. And then it's up to us to realize, well, how do I want to be in this situation? Can I respond in an appropriate way without harm? So the patience part is not expecting them to be different than they are. They're being how they are. There's no should about it. They should be different than the way they are, and I'm unhappy because they're doing it this way. You just need to be patient. They're not doing it the way I think it ought to be, and maybe they never will. Maybe they'll come around and see how smart I am about how they ought to live their life. But I'm the one who's going to have to be patient about that. So I'll do what I need to do, and my attitude, I hope, is to respond with kindness and understanding. So another aspect of patience is not to draw conclusions about how things are. There's a nice parable, nice little story about a Chinese farmer and his son. And I'm not sure how long this story is. I don't know how far back this story goes in China, but it illustrates this way about not drawing conclusions and being patient. So once upon a time, there was a poor Chinese farmer who had a horse. He relied on the horse to help him plow, get from here to there, run his errands. One day, the horse ran away. That evening, all his neighbors came over to commiserate with him. We're so sorry to hear that your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate. The farmer said, we'll see. The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, all the neighbors came back. Wow, this is amazing. Aren't you lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses. The farmer again said, we'll see. The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown off the horse and broke his leg. The neighbor said, oh dear, you rely on your son to help you out on the farm. This is a terrible turn of events. The farmer said, we'll see. So the next day, the emperor's soldiers came around conscripting and drafting people into the army to go to war. And they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, isn't that great? Again, he said, we'll see. We'll see. So this is accepting what is. This is don't know mind that we talk about in Zen. This is freedom because we can always shift our perspective. Accepting reality, this is what is happening. And I don't draw conclusions from this. Things are impermanent, always in flux. And we ourselves are not separate from this. We're not separate from the universe, trying to enact our agenda on a universe that is out there, separate from us. We rest in this reality, this self that I call me, made of non-self elements, and that it's all mystery. So patience is essential for the bodhisattva. The bodhisattva is those who practice so that others can benefit, ourselves and others, and vow to help people, others to the other shore. In this, we really need patience. Norman Fisher, the Zen teacher, says, patience is the most important of all the bodhisattva practices because without it, all the others will eventually fail. Patience is the most important of all the bodhisattva practices because without it, all the others eventually fail. So where do we find it? You might reflect and just think about places in your life that you're already patient. How do you already practice patience? And we can use that as a way to then extend that into other areas. Where do we find it, this patience? Well, the human realm feels like it's accelerating faster and faster. If we look around, the whole world is patient. We can look at the bulbs that patiently wait for spring. We can look at the trees that are patiently taking their time until it's time to leaf. We can look at the ground, patient for rain, snow, accepting whatever comes. We look at the birds, patient for the sun's path to go high, the days to lengthen, and to return to the warming north. Here's a poem, Patience, by Kay Ryan. She was a poet laureate of the Library of Congress at one point. Kay Ryan. Patience. Patience is wider than one once envisioned, with ribbons of rivers and distant ranges, and tasks undertaken and finished with modest relish by natives in their native dress. Who would have guessed it possible that waiting is sustainable, a place with its own harvests, or that in time's fullness, the diamonds of patience couldn't be distinguished from the genuine in brilliance or hardness. Patience is wider than one once envisioned, with ribbons of rivers and distant ranges, and tasks undertaken and finished, with modest relish by natives in their native dress. Who would have guessed it possible that waiting is sustainable, a place with its own harvests, or that in time's fullness, the diamonds of patience couldn't be distinguished from the genuine in brilliance or hardness. Thank you for your patience.
The following chant is on the white card beneath your mat. For great Bodhisattva vows, being thine numberless, I vow to free them. Illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I
So the bell one bow towards the Buddha. And one bow towards the camera at the back of the room for community here and online. Thank you, Bancho, for your talk. And that concludes our Sunday morning program. We will now transition to lunch in the cafeteria. Guests, if you could help us to tidy up the Zendo, all the cushions and blankets can go out in the hallway on the Buddha's left, and benches and chairs can go behind the screens also on the left. And we'll leave all the square mats where they are for sashimi starting tomorrow. Right, thank you everyone.
Kids know.
Trade out for a fluffer?
Wait, what?
I said you're not gonna trade out for a fluffer.
I
want one. There's no guarantee about where we're sitting, you know.
Right.
It's so cushy.
They're flash on one before.